So today, everybody, we are going to look at the game Seven Bridges. And we're going to look at that for two reasons. First of all, I think it's maybe one of the most beautifully produced games I have in my entire collection. And secondly, it is on a mathematical topic. The Seven Bridges of Konigsberg. Go ahead, Ron. Tell us about where's the mathematics here in the theme of the game.
Yeah, well, talking to you about this feels like I'm kind of preaching to the choir, right? Because I think you probably know more about it than I do.
But the audience, some of these, like this is for 10-year-old plus, so they might have no idea anything. Mm-hmm. Why is Seven Bridges? What's the connection to math?
Right. Well, I should give a little bit of backstory, actually, because you are partially responsible for me discovering the story of the Seven Bridges, because I watched one of your early videos on Numberphile. I don't know if it was the frog one or the Mondrian puzzle, but from that, because I think you shared it, and I started following Numberphile. And then from there, I watched their Seven Bridges video. And that is how I found out about the Seven Bridges problem. And that is what inspired the game. So I owe you a debt of gratitude for that as well.
But very circuitous route. I don't think I'm going to claim this one on my resume.
Well, you've got more important things to put on your resume, I think, but you never know. So the Seven Bridges was, and one of the things that really drew me to the idea of making a game about it is because when I researched it, the people who lived in the city of Konigsberg in Germany, which is now called Kaliningrad, because it became part of Russia, they used to walk. Apparently, it was a Sunday exercise for couples or people to try to cross all seven bridges without crossing any of the bridges twice. So there's a story there. I don't know if it's urban legend, but apparently that's what people did. You know, you can imagine though that at that time, which is the 17th century, 18th century, it was a peaceful, safe activity for couples. You know, maybe with their chaperone with them. I don't know, but it was something that apparently the people in the city used to do, and no one could do it. No one could figure out how to cross all seven bridges without having to cross at least one of them twice.
And I can imagine in bars, some people would brag, "Oh yeah, we did it. We did it. Yeah, we don't remember how, but we did it."
Yeah, I can believe that. I can definitely believe that. So the story goes, so depending on who you choose to believe, the mayor of the time might have sent a letter to Euler, because Leonhard Euler, the famous mathematician, Swiss mathematician, who some people may already know of because he's one of the most famous mathematicians in the world. He's on money, he's on stamps, he's mentioned in movies. He's, for me, he's, I'm not a mathematician, but he's the only mathematician I know other than you. So he found out about the problem one way or another, and apparently solved or resolved the problem or how to of this kind of network in very short order, possibly a day. It was just something he looked at the letter or found out about it and just resolved it and sent it back, as the legend goes, whether some of it is exaggerated or not. But and the way he approached the problem gave the foundation to, or eventually formed what's today known as graph theory, which mathematicians all know about, programmers, everybody that, lots and lots of people know about graph theory. And that's how the problem became famous, and that's why it's on Numberphile, and that's why mathematicians and programmers and lots of other people in various fields know about the Seven Bridges of Konigsberg and know about, Euler's known for thousands of things, but this specific story is what really drew me to the idea of making a game about it, because as I think I mentioned, I am a cartographer, a professional cartographer, and also I had played other games. I'm sure you might have played some other games in this genre, which is called roll and write, games where you roll dice and then you do something, whether it's writing lines or writing numbers. And there are other games in this same genre, which is called network building, where you draw lines and connect them. So there's a very good one called Railroad Inc. is one of the most popular ones in this family. Avenue is a classic one. That's probably one of the first ones that I had. But those games you're basically just playing on a grid. The map is in second, it's behind, it's not as important. So I wanted to make a game where the map itself was the focus, or a real world map, to say, can I make a game using a real world map, which would make the game different from those other games? And this is the result, 7 bridges.
Well, let's look at the map now. Here it is. Stunning. So the first thing that I have, whenever I opened this game, I just looked at it and I thought, I just love the aesthetics. This is clearly a cartographer's map. It's precise, and whenever you're playing with game boards, you don't want a lot of clutter often. You just want the precision of this kind of beautiful playing surface. So anyway, I was totally captivated. Okay, so tell us how you play. I thought that the game is good for multiplayers, but every player has to have their own map. And I thought, rather than showing this game with many different players, I think that we should together be on the same team, and we should do a solo experience.
Agreed. In a solo game, you're actually going to play against Euler, but I can explain that at the end. So
okay.
It's called, this is a dice drafting game, which means that when you roll all 6 dice, the first player would pick 1 die and draw that line on the map, and the second player would pick one of the remaining dice and draw that line. And
let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna make the first roll here. Okay, and I'm gonna put them off to the side. Okay, here we go. Is there any specific way you want me to organize those? I just organize them kind of from...
Not really, just so they're all visible, that's fine. But top to bottom in the table there, that's fine too. But so in this case, if we were playing this number 3 die, because you can see the shapes that you're allowed to draw, right? You have the plus and the cross, and you did a good roll here, so you got most of the examples here. A straight line and then a half line. And those dice...
I've got all of the examples. I've got all 6
except for
sides.
the elbow. There's an elbow there too.
Oh, right.
You got all 6 different. There's 7 different symbols.
Right.
But when you pick one of these dice and draw it onto your map, it has to fit within a square. So you can see that there's a grid on the map. So if I take that, why don't
you go ahead and make the first move, and you tell me which color you want me to use to draw on the map, or we can do it annotate. We can annotate. I will say that there's a beautiful, cute little set of pencils and an eraser that come with this game, but it's possible that you choose to annotate instead. What would you like to do?
No, I think we can use it. I think red would be a nice color because it matches the roads. Okay. But the first thing we have to do is actually decide where we're going to start the game, because in solo mode there are 9 difficulty levels depending on where you start the game. So I think we're just going to play a simple game here because we want to give a good example. So maybe we can start the game and give lots of different examples. Maybe we can start the game 1 space below bridge number 1.
Okay, so right here.
And we get to color that in at the beginning of the game. So wherever we start the game, you can color in all the lines on that one, because wherever you start the game, it's kind of like where you live or where you're visiting. So you already know that part of the town, right? Okay. So then and down here at the bottom below the map, you can see there's lots of information on the map, and we can explain that at the end as we're doing the scoring. But in the bottom right of the map, you can see that there are numbers 1 through 5 with little lines going through them, because the game takes 5 rounds to play, and the game can play up to 6 players. So since we're playing a 2-player game, every time we roll the dice, that's 1 turn in that round. So in the solo game, even though we're playing by ourselves, we're actually going to be playing against Euler. So we will roll a dice, and then Euler will roll the dice. And then so there's 2 players technically in a solo play game. But we can get to that as we go. But since we are the first player, we will pick one of these dice first.
And do you want me to shade in this little square?
Yeah, because this is the first turn of the first round. So yeah, you can shade in the first one there. That's fine. Okay. So I think what we want to take, we want to see as much of the map as possible, because all the different things in the legend, those how we're going to score points. We'll score points by visiting buildings, by seeing trees, by making a loop, which is in homage to Euler, to go out to the sides of the map, and to use these special bonuses when we see landmarks. So this 3 is a great one because it lets us draw a straight line up to 3 squares in length. So I think that's the one we want to take, right? So we'll take that 3,
Yep.
And any line that we draw has to connect to some line that we've already drawn on our map. We can't just put it wherever we want. So I think we should take this 3 and then we should draw it up, crossing the bridge and draw it 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
Okay.
See, and because we crossed our bridge, and one of the interesting things about the game, and I'll explain this now, is that you can see in the legend that there are 7 different ways to score points. But at the end of the, and you will calculate the score in all 7 categories. But you only score, or you only earn 1 category for each bridge that you're allowed, that you are able to cross during the game. So if you cross 5 bridges, you're going to take your best 5. If you cross all 7, you're going to take all 7. So you do want to try to get across the bridges. That's probably the most important. But if you try to cross all the bridges, maybe you won't score very many points in the categories. It's sometimes better to focus in 4 categories and just cross 4 bridges. So it's a very balanced game in that aspect. And what we can do now to save time at the end of the game in scoring is, since we've crossed 1 bridge, we can go down into the legend below the map in the bridges crossed, right below your finger there, below the map. And we can already fill in the first segment of that scale bar to show that we've crossed 1 bridge, because there are 7 segments, just like there are 7 bridges, because that number below the segment is how many points we're going to get at the end of the game. So you can see that as we cross more bridges, more points we're going to score.
Got it. But only score if we decide to choose the bridges.
No, yes, exactly. If we get the bridges as one of our top scores.
Okay, got it.
So that was our turn. So now Euler, the AI Euler, is going to play. We don't have to do his map. His job is just to go and see the part of the city at the end of the game that we haven't seen. Euler will always take the die. He will always draft the die that is highest in or lowest in value according to this table on the left of the map. So if you can see this little table on the left of the map that has the diagrams of all the dice. I'm not sure if my finger's pointed to the right side of the map or not.
No, I'm showing it here.
Okay, that's the order of the dice that Euler would take, starting with 3 and then down to 2, because it goes 3, 2, cross, T, straight line, elbow, and nib, as my friends like to call it. So he will take that 2. That would be the dice that he would take if he was playing. So that just goes away.
It's gone.
Yeah. So
now we get to choose between one of these ones.
Yes, anyone. So Gord, you can go ahead and pick one this time.
Okay. I think I'm going to choose this one here, and I'm going to continue our path upwards, hoping to get across another bridge. And
yeah, that's a good choice. That's a good choice.
Euler gets this dice. So that one's gone, and now it's your turn to pick one of these.
Yeah, we'll take that straight line across that bridge then.
Right.
We'll cross bridge number 5.
Okay.
And for people who are interested, this is a real map, and these are real bridges. So in the manual, I actually included the names. So the number one is the Green Bridge, and number 5 is the Merchant Bridge, or Greengrocer's Bridge, depending on how you like to translate it. So I'm actually looking at the Portuguese version here, so I was translating on the fly. And that last dice belongs to Euler, so that just disappears.
And then it's Euler's turn to roll a dice, and here goes. Euler rolls, and Euler doesn't get quite as nice a roll as we did.
No.
There we go.
And but since this is Euler's roll, he takes the first die this turn. So he'll take the cross from us. That's his die, right? Because the person who rolls always chooses first. So now we have to pick from one of these dice.
I'm going to choose this one.
Pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, I think this one is going to be the one that we choose. Now, I'm not sure which way to go here, but I think that's not obvious.
Maybe we can put it towards the H there. Put it below number 2, the bridge number 2.
Got it.
Because one of the things we haven't talked about yet are these landmarks. So you can see on the map that there are letters A through H. And those represent the famous buildings and landmarks that were in the city or neighborhoods even. Euler's turn. He's going to take the first die. 3, of course.
Well, Euler is. I think we're going to be using that re-roll because Euler's going to take this, and now we could take this right now. There's no we want to cross the bridge here pretty badly.
Yes, we could re-roll. Yes, definitely. We definitely want a yes.
Okay,
so go ahead and
we're going to take that. We're going to take that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and now Euler takes this, and now I think we want to re-roll.
Exactly. So now you can fill in that 4. And let's hope we get a a 2, a 3, or a straight line 2.
Oh,
Nice score.
it's fantastic for us. It's actually fantastic.
Yeah, it's another 6 points at the bottom of the map.
We get a 6-pointer as well. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reminds me of when we used to play volleyball.
Here we go. And
he's going to take the 2.
He's going to take the 2, and the last turn of the game is ours. And I suggest we go and grab this 4 up here. We're certainly going to be scoring. We've scored really well by reaching the corners all over the place.
Yes, so, I think so. And we get an extra 2 points for building. So it's like it's the best place to go, because worst case scenario, we're going to score 2 points.
Okay.
The other places you only get 3 points anyway. So that was a really good game. I think we were able to beat Euler this turn.
Well, let's see. We've certainly got a very interesting loopy thing here going on.
Yeah, that's going to help us a lot. So
yeah.
If you want to, for people, so if you want to switch colors for the scoring part of the game.
Let's do that. Let's do that. So I'm going to take green for scoring this part of it. Is that good with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So
street. Let's start at the top and street and footpath. So this is the part of the game that pays homage to Euler and pays homage to the 7 bridges. So in this, you're going to look on your map and try to find the loop that scores you the most points. So you look for a closed loop, starting and ending in the same spot, and you multiply the number of sides that it has by the number of bridges that it crosses. So we made a great loop this time. So just using the letter C as a landmark, to orient us. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it has 10 sides.
Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got it. That is
12 sides. Yeah, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 sides, and that loop crosses 5 bridges. So it's 10 times 5, 50 points.
Wow. That's the best I think I've ever done on the bridges. And it was because of this little loop here. I was thinking we just came down here and went like this. But of course, now we get to do this longer loop. So we're throwing out.
That's right.
We have to throw out 1 because we only crossed 6 of the 7 bridges.
Yeah. So we have to throw out our lowest one. So you can cross out that 23. We don't have to add it up. And then we just add up the other 6.
Right. Okay.
In my head, I got 234. Is that what you got?
Oh, great. Let's just go with it. That's high.
Really if we win by 1 point, we might have to do that again. 324, 104, 234. Yeah, 234. That's a good score. I think we won.
This teaches you guys something, that mathematicians are not always fast. Like, I'm behind Ron here totally and adding.
Yes, but that's because mathematicians are more careful. Like, I think a lot of times your measurements
don't believe him. Don't believe him. No. Okay. Thank you very much. That was just a joy to play with you and to see this beautiful looking game, and the play is quite addictive as a solo play. Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks, Gord. I appreciate it.